What if I told you that one of Stranger Things' most terrifying villains isn't just powerful, but haunted by a past so dark even he cannot confront it? A place exists in Hawkins that even Henry Creel, Vecna himself, cannot step into. A cave that hides a memory so traumatic, so pivotal, it changed him forever. And it's not just about fear. It's about what that cave represents. The birth of the darkness. The first grip of the entity we now call the Mind Flayer. Tonight, we uncover the truth. Why can't Henry go into that cave? Why does Max feel untouchable there? And how does a secret dimension from decades ago tie into everything we've been watching in Season 5? Ask yourself, could the most powerful being in Hawkins be trapped by his own past? And what hidden horrors lurk in places we've barely even noticed? The answers will shock you, and the story behind them is darker than you ever imagined. Fear of the caves. Vecna's refusal to enter the cave isn't cowardice, it's trauma. When Henry Creel was a child, long before Hawkins, his life took a turn that would define him forever. Back in Nevada, young Henry disappeared for 12 hours. 12 hours that would reshape his mind, alter his blood, and awaken powers he never had before. He stumbled into a hidden chamber, left behind by secret government experiments, and was transported to a place only known as Dimension X. Dimension X wasn't a playground. It was a crucible of darkness, ungodly creatures, shadows that whispered to him, and an energy that clawed at his soul. The experience forged him, but it also left scars that Vecna cannot erase. That cave? It's the doorway to that memory. To confront it is to relive his first exposure to the darkness, a memory so raw and formative that even now, decades later, he hesitates. Could this be the true origin of the Mind Flayer's control? Was Vecna ever fully in charge, or was he a puppet of an ancient intelligence manipulated from the start? The cave might hold answers, if anyone dares look. The connection to Brunner and the Hawkins lab. After returning from Dimension X, Henry was no longer just a child. He was a conduit, a bridge between humans and the dark interdimensional force. His blood carried traces of what he had experienced, making him unique and terrifying. Enter Dr. Brunner. Brunner's obsession with Dimension X was deeply personal. His father had inadvertently traveled there, witnessing horrors that would drive him to the brink of death. Brunner inherited the obsession, the quest to understand and harness the dimension's power, and Henry, with his altered blood and fledgling abilities, was the perfect candidate for study. Hawkins became Henry's second home. The Creel family moved to shield him from the consequences of his first encounter with darkness, but fate had other plans. Brunner saw not a frightened child, but potential. A boy whose powers were embryonic, but whose connection to the Upside Down and possibly Dimension X could be weaponized. Every experiment, every manipulation pushed Henry closer to the version of Vecna we now see. But it also preserved fragments of the boy who once feared caves, shadows, and his own power. The events of 1959, when darkness took hold. In 1959, we see a pivotal moment. Henry's relationships, his emotions, and his first moral choices collide. He grows close to Patty, a rare connection to humanity in a life dominated by fear and manipulation. But the darkness, guided by Brunner and the Mind Flayer, begins to assert itself. When Henry glimpses his mother, Virginia's mind, he discovers she has inadvertently exposed Patty to danger. Betrayal cuts deep, and the boy within him reacts in the only way he knows, with controlled, escalating violence. This is the turning point. His mother and sister perish, a consequence of his first violent act under the influence of darkness. It's the crucible where the human and inhuman parts of Henry collide. From here, Vecna emerges, the being capable of orchestrating chaos, commanding fear, and manipulating the lives of those around him. The role of Max and the safe spot. Max's hideout within the cave isn't arbitrary. It's a locus where Vecna cannot reach, not because of physical barriers, but because it intersects with the memory Henry most fears. The child he once was is preserved here, untouched by the violence and perhaps still protective of himself. This raises a chilling question. If Max can exist here safely, are there other places in Hawkins or beyond that remain immune to Vecna's influence? And what does this say about the limitations of his power, the fractures in his control, and the vulnerabilities of an otherwise unstoppable villain? Dimension X. All roads lead back to Dimension X. Unlike the Upside Down, Dimension X is not just another layer of our world. Its origin, history, and possibly the core of the Mind Flayer's intelligence. Every experiment, every cave, every forgotten government operation in Nevada becomes a thread leading back to this point. Could the events of Season 5 eventually pull Max, Holly, or even Will into this interdimensional web? Could the Upside Down be merely a small piece of a much larger, infinitely darker reality? Pause and imagine. If you were Max standing in that cave, protected only by Vecna's own fear, would you dare to step out, or would you wait, knowing that the very shadows themselves could betray you? Comment below. Which Hawkins location do you think holds the darkest secrets yet to be revealed? And here's a thought exercise. If Henry's past shaped him this way, could another Hawkins child follow the same path? And while you think about that, hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to catch every hidden detail, plot twist, and shocking revelation as Season 5 continues to unravel.